In a major relief to India, the White House today confirmed that US President Joe Biden will undertake a trip to India as scheduled to attend the G20 Summit. This announcement is significant considering that First Lady Jill Biden recently tested positive for COVID-19, and while President Biden has tested negative, there was some concern and uncertainty over his travel schedule. Remember, the US President is also scheduled to hold bilateral talks with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi a day ahead of the G20 Summit in New Delhi. Earlier, Biden had expressed his disappointment over the decision by Chinese President Xi Jinping to skip the summit. Let's go back to Shri for more on this story. Shri, Biden may have expressed his disappointment that Xi is not coming, but I can tell you that all of India is heaving a sigh of relief that at least President Biden is coming to India for the G20 summit. There was a flutter and a bit of concern in this regard when the First Lady tested positive for COVID, but now it looks like all is well.
Absolutely, Neha. So I think this is a huge sigh of relief for the G20 attendees that President Biden will finally be making it. I think it's like sheer providence that the coronavirus decided to spare him, and it's really wonderful of him to actually make this trip despite the First Lady testing positive for it. So I think India, appreciates that the President Biden is coming. Now, remember, Neha, there are two things why President Biden's visit is really important. Why it matters to us. One is, of course, the fact that he's coming a day earlier to be able to meet with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi for bilateral talks. And as you know, the relationships between India and US have now gotten onto a totally new trajectory, a new strategic sphere, where we are talking about critical technology and not just in the defense, but also in terms of information technology, manufacturing, and that is now also going to be supplemented, on the other hand, by defense collaboration, for example, Quad, to maintain stability in our part of the world. So his presence was extremely important for those reasons, for specific to India and US. Now, the other reason why he needs to be there is because US is the most powerful country in the world, the largest economy, and as some of the key commitments are discussed and countries come to agree on some of these key commitments, especially on the multilateral funding of nations, where US, don't forget, is a very large donor. It funds a lot of these multilateral institutions. So US being there and signing off on those agreements, especially on climate change, on other commitments, greenhouse reduction, I think those are very, very important issues on which the presence of President Biden was important. And we are really glad that he's there. And we hope that his presence will propel the talks forward. And despite Xi Jinping's absence, we are able to see something constructive and qualitative come out of the G20 summit meeting at the end of it, Neha.
Well, absolutely. President Biden's visit is extremely important, not just for the G20 summit, but also because he's going to hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the eve of the G20 summit. And of course, the two sides are hoping to take their relationship forward following Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent historic state visit to the United States.